The age of the internet, the age of wireless connectivity, the age of social media, and this age wherein a lot of things is coming to us in terms of entertainment and everything, we sometimes lose our objective, and we sometimes cannot achieve the things that we have to achieve. I mean, we have less productivity and sometimes no productivity at all. The thing that I'm going to share to you can help, and this is what I call this can help.
Welcome to another episode of Maestro Speaks podcast.
The equivalent of love is forgiveness.
Mhm.
You find any inspiration in this we have done and you have done your novel part.
El Maestro Speaks podcast.
And it's a long time. Howdy, everybody, to people listening around the globe. Now, before we move on, I want to have this ad read first. So this podcast is brought to you by Monofloor's Egg Poultry located at Moncayan, Benguet. Yeah, it's in the Philippines. Okay. Now, it's also brought to us by Space Tech, again, in the Philippines, particularly in Moncayan, Benguet. Now, they specialize in what we call software repairs for your computer. And of course, they do graphic designs. Also, you can always check them on their Facebook page, Space Tech. And of course, we have here the Millennial Tech. Millennial Tech is a cell phone repair shop located at Abatan Mankayan Benguet. Batan Mankayan Benguet. I think if they did not yet transfer, they are in Kubo building. I have not updated the details about them yet. Anyway, it's also brought to you by Dems Auto Performance, located at La Trinidad Benguet. This is an auto shop, by the way, for those who have problems, of course, talking particularly to our friends here in Benguet. Um, if you are in La Trinidad and you need your car to be repaired, we can trust the Dems Auto Performance. They're located at Alapang La Trinidad Benguet. And of course, we have here Carl Tech. Carl Tech Repair Shop, just the same as cell phone repair shop, a gadget repair shop. We have that a lot. We have a lot of like that here in the Philippines. Um, the name you can trust when you're in La Trinidad. Carl Tech Repair Shop. They're located at the old public market here in La Trinidad. And also they have a branch at the Balwag Center. Steel, La Trinidad, Benguet. All right. And of course, I cannot um continue without thanking one of the eager bloggers. And I had him in my podcast here before. I think I don't know what the episode is that. So we talk about things. And he's a popular blogger, and he also have this cafe. He called it the Bad the Wrong Cafe, and I cannot thank him enough. Or sometimes, if I have guests, I have guests in this podcast, we always do the recording at his place. So, yeah, and at times we do it for free. So, the cafe is cozy. If you happen to visit La Trinidad, there you go, Badrong Cafe. If you happen to visit La Trinidad Benguet, then you can always go to Baderong Cafe where you can taste or we can have what do you call that one? An authentic Thai food experience, even if you are here in the Philippines, you know. So that is Baderong Cafe. Look at it at La Trinidad Benguet. At times you can also maybe there will be times that if you go there you can see some of the popular vlogger. I think okay, we can call it a vloggers hub, the Baderong Cafe. Now back to the topic at hand. So, wherever you are in the world, how are you? I hope everyone's well listening to this podcast here. Okay. Now, like what I said a while ago, the age that we are, how do you call it in English? The era or the era that we are in now is, how can you say this? It's full of disturbance or distractions or, yeah, okay. It's full of um, disturbance. You cannot focus on one thing because there's always something new coming out. The development, the rate of inventions, the rate of developing things in this age is so fast that we just want to just do little of everything to experience everything. That's what we're doing. That's why you see you've that's why TikTok is so successful, right? Because we just want to watch a little bit of everything. We cannot focus on. I think the attention span of people nowadays is so short. Because of that, they want to just take a look at things and then move on to something new. That's how it is, right? And it shows. It shows in the way we consume entertainment products. Oh, it's very seldom that we can have that people will consume a long form product like this one, right? Though, yeah, to contradict that statement also is that one of the podcasts that is so successful in the world, around the world today, is a 3 hour long podcast. That's Joe Rogan's podcast. But let's just say, let me just reword my statement there. Most, but not all, especially the younger generation. And this um distraction, the distraction that we are experiencing in our daily lives sometimes can hinder us to achieve the goal that we have um, placed for that day. I mean, or we have placed for a certain period of time. And that leads to frustrations because we are not achieving something. We are not, we are not completing the task that was given to us. Okay. And we cannot blame people because, even me, even all of us, I guess, sometimes when you're holding your phone is like, our phone is like our best friend and our worst enemy at the same time. Okay. Yeah. Technology is like our best friend and the worst enemy that we had. And then drawing it closer, it can be us. Our attitude towards them can be our best defense also. We can use technology to help us, can use them to make our life easier, but at times it can also make our life hard because it's keeping us it's keeping us away from the things that we can do, we can achieve, right? So that is why this thing that I'm going to share to you can help us be more productive, right? In this day or the generation of or the time wherein we have a lot of disturbances. And this method, I think some of us knows this, is a method that has been being implemented by other people, of course, in business. It's it's very interesting. Yeah. If you want to learn more about learning things like that, it's very easy to learn about them just by looking at those successful people, or at the same time looking at the elites of the military. And that's what I've been doing. Okay. I wouldn't say that I'm looking for hacks. No, I'm just looking for how to looking for ways how to explain the techniques that people had been doing in order to achieve something. Now, and this topic here is that um, the question here is how can we accomplish the things, or how can we accomplish something in a day, right? Or how can we do or complete tasks that we set forth to do effectively? And what we can do is to implement what we are calling the Ivy Lee method. Okay. So it is about efficiency, how we can do the task that was set forth for us, okay, in time and properly with high quality and in on time. That's efficiency, right? And mind you, the steps that we can do here is just five. There's just five steps for this method here, the Ivy Lee method. So maybe before I can discuss this method for us, I would like to read the story about the Ivy Lee method. So this is a story that dates back in 1918. That was like 100 years ago. So this method is been being, or I mean, is being, or was, and is still being used for 100 years, and nobody has refuted its effectivity. So I would say that this is effective. The Ivy Lee method is effective. So according to this story, it says here that Schwab, or Charles M. Schwab, the owner of the Bethlehem Steel Corporation, okay, asked a person named what's the name of that person? Ivy Lee. He's a guy. Name is Ivy. It's weird. Okay. In the Philippines, I think people with the name Ivy is usually a woman. But anyway, uh, so this guy, Mr. Schwab, called Lee into his office and said that, um, you know, he wants um his company to, or I mean, his employees to get things, or get more things done. So maybe they're accomplishing a certain number in a day of things that they can do, but then the owner of the company needs more. Yeah, the classic greed of the managers. Anyway, so according to the stories, that Lee said that he can do this. He can show Mr. Schwab on how to get more things done in just 15 minutes. So what he did is that he asked for a 15-minute meeting with all his Mr. Schwab's staff. And then when Mr. Schwab asked him how much it will cost him, Lee said nothing. So you don't need to pay me now, Lee said. You can just pay me with the amount that you think I deserve after you see how effective the method that I'm going to teach to your workers. That's what Ivy said. And so during that time, Mr. Lee explained his 15 minutes of strategy. And yeah, accordingly, this strategy worked. So it worked And because the evidence was there, so the the company was more successful. That's why Mr. Schwab wrote the check for two no no for $25,000 that he gave to Mr. Lee. It is an equivalent of $400,000 today, right? So that only shows that the method that Ivy Lee have shared to Mr. Schwab is so effective. Okay, the method of efficiency of becoming more productive. Like I said, in this day and age, it's very difficult to be productive sometimes, especially if you already have your phone. You'll be going to a rabbit hole digging on things that is so trivial sometimes. Now, that's the story of the Ivy Lee method. So the method was developed by Ivy Lee, hence the name. And now let us take a look at the method. There are simple steps that can help our efficiency. So number one is that, okay, the step one to be efficient so that we can be more productive in this 24-hour and during our 8-hour workday is that at the end of each workday, what you should do is this is step one already. Write down 6 most important things you need to accomplish tomorrow. Do not write more than six. So, step one is write down the 6 most important things that you need to accomplish tomorrow or on the next day. Do not write down more than six. So, the limit, the maximum is six. Write it down. The things that you need to do on the next day, you have to write it down. That's during the end of the day. And you have to think thoroughly of what you need to accomplish and write it down. A simple step, guys. Number one. The second one is prioritize items on your list in order of their true importance. Now, the word true here was highlighted. Okay. So this is prioritizing the things that needs to be done and how we're going to know which one is priority number one and so on and so forth is that of course we have to see the urgency. Okay, is it needed? Okay, does it needs to be finished immediately? Those things, there's other questions. I mean, you have to ask yourself questions like, why is this important? Not to you, but to the company you work for, of course. Or if that is a personal or so a personal project, then why is it important to be? Why is that priority number one? You have to ask yourself that. You got to see the true importance of all those tasks that is on your list. It's step number two. Step number three is when you arrive the next morning, concentrate only on the first task. Work until the first task is finished before moving on to the second task. That's step number three. So you start with the first task that you listed. Hmm. Yeah. So it's a common sense advice, or step. So you work after you finish. Do not stop until you finished the first task before moving on to the next one. We have sometimes people, especially in this day and age, people have the tendency to start a project or a task and then move on to another one without finishing it. I've seen a lot of people do that. And the end of the day, they have started a lot of things without finishing even one. And that's the thing that step three is trying to avoid. So better start with the first one and then make sure that it's finished before moving to the next one. Step number four, approach the rest of your list in the same fashion. Okay, so that's what you are going to do with the next. So, say for example, if you're done with step no, I mean, with the first task, you go with the second task, and do not go or move to the other task until you're done with it. Okay. Now, we only have 8 hours, like 6 hours to work on things, something like that. Of course, um, let's just say 8 hours, but it's not really 8 hours because you have your breaks. Some things will come up, things like that. And for sure, among those lists or tasks that you have on the list, some might not be completed or some might not be done on the day. You cannot finish all of them. That's what I want to say. So the unfinished items, this still in step number four, will be included on the new list of tasks for the following day. So the uncompleted task will be completed. I will be included on the next list. And then you repeat the same process. You list them up again and up until six. And then you determine the importance, which one goes should go first. And then the next step is do it again. So those are the five simple steps. Okay. So Lee's strategy sounded simple, right? It's simple. So this Ivy Lee method of prioritizing your to-do list, the key to becoming efficient, okay, seems stupid and simple. Yeah. But how and why does it work and what makes it so effective, right? It's like how do you say this in English? Let's see. We say it's common sense. It's common sense. It is like you don't need to say it. It's like we already know that that's what you should do in order to accomplish tasks. But sometimes we forget. Sometimes simple things are the things that we tend to forget first and let go, right? But why does it work? First things first, it's simple. Okay. The simplicity, that's the beauty of simplicity because sometimes the simple it is, the more effective it will work. Okay. So it's simple enough to actually work. Primary critic of methods like this one is that they are too basic. After all, they can possibly account for all the complexities and nuances of an exhibit manager's day-to-day life. I mean, what happens if a new show or what happens if a new work is added to you? Okay, at the very last minute, what happens if you know there are some emergency activities that you need to do? Okay, well, as much as possible, this will teach you also to ignore them sometimes. Okay, and this will teach you to weigh in on things to see which one is priority, right? And maybe uh, you will be going to do other tasks sometimes not related to what you have on the list. But of course, if you come back, you still have the guideline on what to do next, right? And then you can get back the focus to continue on what you have listed to do for that day. So that's what make it actually work. Okay. And then the next one is it forces you to make tough decision, right? I don't believe there's anything magical about the least number six important task of the day. You can make it four, you can make it five, right? But um, I think there's magic on imposing limits to yourself, right? You're putting limits to yourself that this is what you should do for the day, okay? And that is the effectivity of achieving a goal is making a specific goal, right? And putting a number, putting a limit on the task that you can achieve for the day is that making it is specific. That's why. And it teaches you, because you only have that few numbers, it teaches you to really weigh in on the task, which one is more important and which one is not, right? Okay. That's what makes this effective. Okay. Makes you go through tough decisions. Okay. Constraints can make you better, according to the article that I had here. Yes, and that's true. Okay. Lee's method is similar to Warren Buffett's rule that requires you to focus on just five critical tasks and ignore everything else. Okay. Basically, if you commit to nothing, you will be distracted by everything. Yeah, that's what I'm saying a while ago. It's having a very specific goal and putting a number is making it very accurate, is really making you or helping our mind focus on something. Okay. It also removes friction. That's why it's very effective. It removes friction in starting. The biggest hurdle to finishing most tasks is starting them. Getting off the couch can be tough, but once you actually start running, it is much easier to finish your workout. Lee's method forces you to decide on your first task the night before you go to work. So you already are preparing. You already have a plan when you sleep on how you're going, excuse me, how you're going to tackle your work, right? Okay. So that is one of the reasons why this Lee method is effective. This strategy can be incredibly useful for um, people in any profession, especially maybe teachers, writers. I think it can be useful to anyone, even if you're a student. You can also use this method. Okay. The leap method is also effective because it requires you to single task. The thing that we have right now, you heard the word multitasking, right? I don't think that's an effective way of doing task, multitasking. Though, because you're not really multitasking, you're doing a task while distracting yourself. Uh, so multitasking, they say, but myth of multitasking is being busy. Oh, no, that being busy is synonymous with being better. That's the exact opposite, right? Having fewer priorities leads to better work, right? Because all your focus are there, right? You study world-class experts in any field, artists, scientists, or CEOs, and you'll discover the one characteristic that runs through all of them. They have their focus. You can't be great at one task if you're always dividing your time 10 different ways. And you cannot efficiently accomplish anything when your attention is constantly shifting. I would agree with this. Yes, exhibit. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, that's not. That's not included there. Okay, so that's it. So you cannot, you know, you cannot multitask. That is one way of draining ourselves fast, like draining you. You just imagine you're like a phone and your battery is full and you play all apps at the same time. Of course, the battery will drain so fast. That's the same with um ourselves. Okay, so if your battery will drain so fast, then it's not going to be so useful for a long time. As compared to us, it's compared to us. If we are going to destroy our health easily, okay, or fast, then we will not be useful to our family. So, yeah, that's the worst scenario that can happen if you multitask. Yeah. So the Ivy Lee method helps us to single task, okay? Or let's just say do one task at a time, okay? That's why this one is effective, okay? And I tried I tried doing this. I've tried this. Okay, of course I'm not going to share it to you if I didn't try it. And it's effective. Though I changed the number, really I changed the number into four. That's the that's the task that I can accomplish. Four, and at times there are two tasks that will go on my next day list. It's funny, yeah. And still, but still, the thing there is I'm accomplishing something. That's that's the that's the plus for me as compared to you know when back when I don't have a system at all of doing things, is that I tend to procrastinate from time to time. But with the Ivy Lee method, I tried using it and it's effective. At least I can finish something at the end of the day. You can feel, well, you feel accomplished, you know? It's, um, especially when you are having, like, you're facing a lot of course, you have your job and then you have your personal or pet projects like what I have here, then you really have to have your system of working things. And I encountered this one and it's really effective. It's so simple, but it's really effective. And like what I said a while ago, if it worked in me, okay, it worked on me, it worked on my system of working, then it can help you too. And if you're looking for ways to be productive, to be efficient in your work, personal life, then this can help. The Maestro speaks again for another podcast. And I would say I'll be talking to you next time. Take care, God bless, and have a good life, everyone.